All right. Okay, everyone. I don't know. You got to ask one of those guys. I'm pretty sure there is a code.
Yeah, there's a wireless.
There's a wireless. So
I think it's Bull Bear, capital B, capital B. What network?
Benzinga gas.
Benzinga gas, Bull Bear, capital B, capital B.
Go ahead. 2 minutes. Yes, yeah, but I would. You got the million.
Yeah. Do you need a sticker for your mouth?
Yes, I do. All right. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to our second DNewTech event for the year. Again, I want to say first of all, say thank you to Jason and Benzinga for hosting this DNewTech event. So let's give them a hand. We're a small group, but I think I was telling everyone I think we really feel cozy. We just need a fireplace, and I think we all would feel like we're at home.
We could do that.
This is a pretty nice area, man. Yeah. They just moved here 2 months ago, and apparently you still have plans to even make this even more. I mean, with you said there's a stock market.
Bunch of stuff. Don't tell us about it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that they have in mind. In regards to DNewTech, as you all know, I mean, well, right now we're about 1,800 members, 1,400, I'm sorry, and I know that with DNewTech, we're pretty much a spin-off from them. They've been doing great things here at DNewTech. We kind of do something a little bit different, as you all know. We want to get you guys out to Detroit, see some of the cool spaces like Benzinga, Bamboo, Tech Town. Next month we're going to Invest Detroit. They just got in their new facility. We're going to let them talk a little bit later on too. But again, the whole idea is that there's a lot of things going on in Detroit. Our goal is to make sure that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of startups, they're not aware that some of these cool things are happening. So hopefully DNewTech will bring that to them. In addition to that, the way we separate ourselves from DNewTech is that we do have normally 3 to 4 presenters. Today we got 2. I'm hoping that John and Jason and Justin are both here. But the whole idea is that give them a chance to present. Everyone thinks that their baby is the most beautiful baby until you really share with the community. And most of the time at DNewTech, one of the things we try to do is kind of give you 5 minutes to pitch and then 5 minutes to get drilled by Q&A from the audience. Again, things you might not have thought of, but the whole point is for you to get feedback. Hopefully from that, our other, typically what we do is 5 minutes of presentation and then 5 minutes of Q&A, and then we have mostly networking. Besides that, my name is Tan. I kind of started this back in 2009, 2010. Roger here has been helping me. He's been doing the DNewTech. He's been doing a lot of meetups, as a matter of fact. So we've been hoping to keep this going to the fact that Detroit is a cool place for startup, and the community out here we pretty much have a lot of synergy. So we want to be part of that. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Jason here, our great co-host, and let's give him a hand.
If any of you guys parked in the parking structure and you didn't get your validation, I just want to make sure you guys get your validation so you don't have to pay. Okay. So, does anyone else park? The parking structure is attached to the building. These are the tickets. Get out. I just want to make sure everyone has one. Did anyone else not get one? Did you park in the structure?
I didn't get a ticket though.
Did you park in the structure? Z-Lot, I don't know.
The Z-Lot is across there from it.
Oh, okay. Anyone else in the CompuWare lot? Check it out. Okay. Well, if you guys are then. Anyway, so thank you for coming down. Sorry for all the messages from Cher and stuff. Probably scared some people in this because like they have security here is pretty crazy, like high tech. I guess it's like if you ever go to New York and you go to the building, same kind of thing. They take your photo. They do the whole thing. But as he was saying before, Detroit is on the rise, I believe, and what's happening? We got a couple more people walking in, so that's good. So what's happening here is probably why we wanted to move here. I know there's 2 guys pitching tonight. I was one of those 2 guys at DNewTech either 2 or 3 years ago. Roger probably has the video. I remember like it was yesterday. We were at Tech Town, and I spoke, and I said my spiel, and people quizzed me and asked tough questions. So one of the things I see a lot of startup people with ideas. Someone told me the idea they had tonight, and I'm like, is it a secret? You have an idea, just I believe tell everyone, because most people aren't going to take your idea and just go execute it and execute it better than you are. Ideas to me are cool, but execution and results are everything. Sales and results cure so much stuff. Results and the only way to get results is by talking to people. So we started in my basement, then Bingham Farms, then Southfield, and then here. And this here is not just like a regular space in Detroit. I think this is the best view, best space in Detroit. We are going to have a TV studio in here very shortly, the next month or two, with the campus Martius as a background. In the background, the ice rink, all that stuff, or I guess it'll be a beach by then. Then we're gonna have all these TVs and stock news going across here. We're gonna have a stock ticker, and Detroit is gonna be seen far and wide in New York, Wall Street Journal. They're gonna be writing about the stuff we're doing out of here. We distribute content, so our business, we distribute content to the major platforms, Yahoo Finance, Ameritrade. Every online brokerage is basically a customer of ours. And we do this from Detroit, and most of our customers are in New York. So sometimes people say, hey, I need to be somewhere else to make something happen. I don't believe that. There's like me and this other guy, Matt, here. We go to New York, go for 2 days straight, and we do 14 meetings, and then we do the hardest part, following up and then making it happen. And we use Detroit as a badge of honor. We got to try harder to get in front of these people. And when the people that I'm talking about getting in front of are like the CEOs of Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. These are like, we go right to the top, because then they'll funnel us down versus the opposite. You start low, and you don't know who to go to, and you don't just get pushed around. And we do the opposite, and that's just a way we've done it at the company. There's a lot of ways to reach someone like a leader of a company, a Mark Zuckerberg. If I wanted to reach Mark Zuckerberg, I have full faith that we could talk to Mark Zuckerberg, because there's a lot of ways and to navigate through those through those channels. So, I mean, this is not really about Benzinga, this event. This is just a place that we're hosting it. We'd love to host more. I mean, this is if you're working on stuff, you want free space to work out of, you're more than welcome to come sit here and be working in this beautiful building. There's a gym, there's all this stuff, and we want to see more startups be here. And I'm passionate about Detroit and the overall scene. And if you have any questions about what we do, we take unique data and content. So think of how many people were at the Lululemon store in the last hour. We could tell you that, and then we can try to interpret it and all this kind of stuff. So that's the kind of stuff we do. We take data and content, we license it to brokerages. We have a website, but our main business is taking data and content and licensing it. We also have a paid subscription platform, kind of like a naked Bloomberg. It's called Benzinga Pro, and you go in there, you can type in whatever you want, and they'll give you all the data, no ads, all that stuff in real time. And when I say real time, it's faster than you would see on CNBC. It's they use our platform. So when you're watching CNBC, they'll be looking at our platform and using it, behind the scenes, which is really cool. It's a badge of honor that we built this in Detroit, and we had a passion to help people make better investment decisions, and we have people all over the world using it. Because what some people build. I have a friend who built, I think, one of the best finance sites I've ever seen. He raised $1 million for it, and to me, I still remember it. He closed down 2.5 years ago. Why? Because he built the greatest tool, but no one knew about it. So there's that challenge. You could have the greatest idea. Someone mentioned an idea to me tonight that was great, like a directory of events. It's great. But the challenge is, with all businesses, is how do you get that in front of the world? How do you get that to become the default engine? I was just reading yesterday a 10K from year 2000. It was from a company called GoTo.com. It was a search engine, a pay-per-click. They mentioned in their competitor thing, the competitors they have, Axe Jeeves, a bunch of other ones, MetaSearch, MetaCrawler, ... Google wasn't even mentioned in it. This is year 2000. And now that company GoTo is not around, and these other ones aren't around. The point is, there's two things. You got to either build an insanely great product that everyone talks about and everyone uses. That's what happened with Google. Or you got to build a good product, which that's what most people can do, and then get the word out through strategic relationships and just doing good to someone else. And that's how we've grown. We always try to give more than we receive, and I think that's what has allowed us to propel past some of the major financial organizations like Reuters and Dow Jones. So that's our spiel. And any other questions? There's a couple people back there, Matt, Bert, and there's a couple guys around the office. I don't know, any questions I could answer?
I got what you said.
Sure.
I mean, you talk about three things that I think it's big for us. You got the network. You said you start from the top up, so that way you can get
Top down.
immediate from the top. So
Yep.
get immediate response. I mean, and then sales. Sales is everything. So between those three, I mean, why do you feel like, especially for a lot of these of our members, starting off something, getting their ideas out there? I where do they start? Where would you recommend that they start pitching their ideas at?
So for example, if I was going to sell a better shirt, and I have this great idea for this better shirt because I don't have to put my arms through the sleeves, but it's easier to put on or something like that. And I have this idea for it. It's just so great. And I keep having this vision of it as being so great. But if I don't ever build it, I don't know if it's great. I just keep thinking it. You can do it in a service business. Say, you want to create a service business to consult. One of the guys here is a front-end designer for Ford. And so say he has really good automotive experience. And he's like, I could go do this on my own and do, consult to he can make a product like 4C results and saying what are the best practices for front end for automotive. He probably could build that. And it sounds like it'd be worthwhile. The issue is sales cures all. What he has to do is build a beta and call some people and get them to be clients. So when starting Benzinga, it's pretty crazy to start a media company when there's MarketWatch, The Street, and there's a million sites, Google News. I mean, how are we going to compete in a world of Apple News? I mean, it's crazy. It's like a crazy thing. You can think about it, all these businesses are like, and I say, there's there's a million Ubers now. There's a million news sites. What I did was I built something small, and I found out if we had traction. And some of the top people at Ameritrade reached out to us and said, this is the best thing we've ever seen. How do we become a customer? At that time, I didn't know how to price our thing. I way underpriced us. And but that's how you learn. You gotta take that first step, and it could be on the side, but you gotta take that first step and get the customer. There's a guy, Matt, back here who always says, okay, we build this, but you gotta get that customer to buy it first. And then you can back into it. You can start building and building and building. Because if you just keep building, you don't have customers giving you money, and how do you know if it's worth anything? To be honest, Benzinga.com, it's a free site. The only reason we started a paid site is because I just figured it was like random traffic coming to our site. If someone's willing to pay for something, that means they value it a lot more. So that's kind of why we started the subscription thing. And now that's a whole business. Now we're trying to take on Bloomer with that. And you'll see us in a big way later this year, out there in a big marketing way with our terminal and for the masses. So, but that all started because we were just trying to see if people wanted to see our content, and if they pay, that means they kind of wanted to see it. Are you gonna say something? I thought I saw your hand up.
Can you tell a story about how do you build that first relationship with
the real story or the fake story?
Oh, no.
The real story is, so the company started because there was no small cap newswire focused on stocks that are valuation between 300 million and 800 million. So not the Facebooks of the world, but the companies that you probably haven't heard of. And so we focused on that. No one else was doing it. And I kept trying to call Ameritrade. It was just me at the time. And then I had a couple guys in India help me out. It was just me. But if it's just me and I'm the only guy calling, we don't look that large. When you're a media company, it's a lot easier. It sounds crazy, but it's a lot easier to build an Uber or an app versus a media company. Because a media company, Benzinga, we never heard of that, so why would we ever talk to you? So to get market acceptance was almost impossible at first. So you have to fake it till you make it. So in the beginning stages, I had to be 2 or 3 people. So sometimes I was Todd, and Todd Rosen, and I had to be because their product person would call and say, we want to speak to the editor about this. I don't know, what am I going to do? Give my 6-month-old and say, hey, And then I literally, the washing machine was on, it started buzzing, and I had to pretend I was in an office. I really, literally ducked under a thing because I was on the phone. I still remember to this day, and I had to do that. I had 3 people, Todd, Adam, and me. That was the first few months of calling. That got me a little credibility, but I still had struggles getting the buy-in. So the next stage was, how can I get to the person that can really make the decisions? So you know what I did? So I didn't get to the things I talked about, but I didn't get to the person that has the bank. I didn't get to the CEO. So you know what I did to get to the CEO back then? I said, do you want to be? I was a writer for AOL Blogging Stocks. I said, can we interview you? So now I interviewed him. Asked 5 questions. My 5 questions are pretty. I love them. They're, what was your first or worst job? What would you recommend for someone to do in their 20s to be successful? And a couple other ones. But that I interviewed him. And I'm not saying that got us the deal. It didn't. It just, you get in front of the right people. I mean, I interviewed in college. I interviewed the CEO of Activision and then Steve Jobs, and it was just getting out there and persistence. I was telling someone today because persistence is what wins the game. We had someone that we emailed, they didn't get back to us, and it's persistence. And I drop the ball all the time, so now I'm trying to figure out better systems to make sure that we're accountable so we follow up. Because it's easy to be persistent when you're only going for 2 people. So if you want to deal with Ford, I mean, go right to Mark Fields. Like, find out what, you know, you just go right to him. Because, you know, most people don't. And now, the only problem is, nowadays it's a lot harder because there's so easy to send an email. When I was going after Bob, this guy from Activision, and Steve Jobs, I had to fax stuff in. And email makes it so easy that it's almost hard to get them, so you got to be a little more creative. For example, we just sent a fathead that's like this long of the New York Knicks to one of our things. Because it was, you guys got to stand out. So you got to find a way. But now that is not a product business, right? That is selling a service or a feed. You know, doing a product business, so say you have that app for an event directory or what have you. Then you got to figure out, okay, I have it. The site is awesome. How do I get a lot more traffic to it? Okay, so you start thinking Google, Twitter, Facebook. So you buy some Twitter file. You know, you do the whole marketing. You go on Twitter. You start posting it. You start going at other people. I mean, it's free to go to TechCrunch and leave a comment on something about another directory thing. People start seeing you. I mean, have you guys heard of Mashable? So Mashable, Pete Cashmore, all he did was he just could go comment on every story. This is when he was a one-man show. In some respect, he's executed way faster than us because he, you know, it's big and everyone knows it. All he did was go comment on every story on other sites. So there's, you know, it costs nothing to do that. And then someone might say they don't have the time. Well, that's bullshit. I mean, no, it is. I'm sorry, it is. If you think about, like, I was talking about someone last night, Dan Gilbert. He has basketball teams, hockey teams, casinos, loans, this, that. It's like 70 businesses. I know he has people to execute them, but if you can't have time to comment on some stuff, then have someone else help you or find it in your nighttime. That passion has to be crazy. It has to be a crazy passion. If we didn't have guys that were crazy passionate here, we wouldn't be here. When I started the company, there's 3 other companies that started at the exact same time as ours. Learning Markets and Trading, Trading Markets, Trading something. Traders Huddle, that's what it was. And they started at the exact same time as us. They went out of business. You know, they focused on ad revenue, we focused a little bit different. You know, actually Traders Huddle, they came to our office for us to buy their domain for $500. And we were direct competitors. But the crazy passion is what allowed us to be successful. And we're not even, someone asked me, you did, and like now that we're here in this amazing space, do I feel like we did it? No, not even close. We feel like we did it when we solved real big problems for investors, and we're out there. And you guys, when I say, have you heard of Benzinga, and I'm in, you know, wherever, they know Benzinga. It's like you know Business Insider. Then I'll say, I'll put a smile on my face. But and I like trying to help people to build these things and go overcome those no's. I always, and I do it to myself, by the way. So I procrastinate on emails sometimes, and I'll say, well, once I have this information, or once I have this, once I have this venue, once I have this, that's another procrastination technique. So I try to remove those, send the things, hope for the best, and you just keep going and making the phone calls. And it's what we try to do. The thing that I wish I had more experience in, I don't know, you know, is coding and developing, because things take longer than I would hope for them to take, and I just don't know. There's no way I can help. My hands are tied, and that's the one thing that I wish I would have. I wish, like in college or whatever, I would have got more experience to understand what developers have to go through to get things done. Because having empathy for the developers is probably the most important thing. And you know, me being like wants to get this product for the person because they can't log in, and that's the one thing that, you know. So developing's always hard, but there's always where there's a will, there's a way. You know. Yes, sir.
A comment and a question. I've found myself using the phrase labor of love a lot. Like, talk about passion is good, labor of love too, you know, good things. Mobile, I have the Benzinga app on my phone. Apple's up 1.7%.
Are you using the app or the mobile version?
I am using the app.
Okay.
But how important is mobile to you? You're doing traffic or users or whatever?
So our mobile app is actually pretty darn good. It's like that we get compliments on the app. We don't invest a ton of time right now on our Benzinga.com doing the optimizing for mobile. We're most focused on our B2B business, the licensing and the feeds business, where we take our content or sell it, or Foursquare data and sell it to a third party. But ultimately, we believe mobile is extremely important. We believe that we have to have the whole ecosystem, so we have to have our brand out there for the consumer. Because I think what happened to BlackBerry could happen to multiple companies, in the sense that every person in a corporation used BlackBerry, and then Apple just overtook. So the professional, the commercial merged with the consumer. And I think that will happen more and more in our space too. So mobile is extremely important. About 30% of our traffic is mobile now. And finance is a little bit insulated from mobile revolution in the sense that traders and investors at work still use computers and multiple screens. As you see, these guys have 8 screens. I just came back from New York, and the average person has 4 screens, 3 screens. You know, he knows this. So it's like, so that's the one thing we're insulated a little bit. But mobile is very important. It's just we can only fight so many battles so many times. Like one thing we're working on hard on right now is a new TCP feed, because these guys want it faster. So right now that's a priority that needs to be done in the next few weeks. But I would say mobile is as important as anything, because you need them to know your name, your brand, and everything. So that mobile app is pretty good, but always can be better.
Like Jason said, our industry is a little bit different. We do have a lot of...
Stand up, Bert, they can't hear you.
Use and utilize and abuse the desktop. Like, okay, the 8 screens, there's people like that in our industry a lot. So we're going to get a lot of traffic through that type of usage. But most other industries, mobile's important. Mobile's important for us too. It's just, you know, like you said, we're a little insulated and a little bit different in some respects. So.
Who are you?
Bert David, lead developer at Benzinga. He's been here for probably about 4 years.
I know him. I mean, I just wanted to audience.
Oh, well, that's who it is. He's the master plan. And he's doing this 30-day guide right now. He basically can't eat anything, so I think he's like on a 30-day start.
I'm doing Whole 30 if you've heard of it. So.
What is it called?
It's called Whole 30.
Oh, Whole 30.
Yet he's standing right there by the pizza.
Yeah, I was like, you're not doing a good job.
It's all willpower. Any other questions before I get kicked off the stage?
Real quickly, did that DNewTech help you at all?
A2
Or you
New
go
Tech.
back to when you mentioned
DNewTech.
DNewTech, that's what I was up
Okay,
against. Sorry. It did speak at A2. Did it help me? I think for sure. I mean, like, well, I don't know what you mean, what capacity.
well,
but
did you get anything concrete out of it besides just the experience?
So the answer is yes, because there's people there that challenge me to think harder about the business. And I think that is important. Like you guys, you could say, well, Jason, why are you guys going to be this? Because Bloomberg is wiping you. You know, there's different challenges, and all I think about is how do we expand our moat, and that's why the mobile question is right up. We got to have all that stuff. But yeah, it makes you think harder about your business. And it also depends the stage you're at. So if you look at DNewTech's businesses, there was one that was similar to ours like 7 months ago, and he pitched there. And what I was hoping is that he would carry on and build the thing, you know, and he didn't. A lot of people will pitch a DNewTech or A-Tech, you know, work on it for a few more months and then just let it go by the wayside, you know? And that's okay. Sometimes it's also where you are in life, you know? It's like, there's another thing I want to do so bad, but I just need to find the right person to do it. I'll find the money for them. But it's like, I can't do it because I'm all invested here, you know? I invest in startups. It's called Hello World VC. And it's a small little fund, very small, but it could be a lot bigger, but we can't because I'm focused on Benzinga. And as I've learned, you know, you gotta focus. And but yeah, speaking of these kind of events is great to sound out your idea. And now the other side of it is there's a balance, right? If you just go to events and you're not building and getting customers, I would much rather say you were selling the shirt you're wearing or something. I would much rather hear you say I called 10 people in the last hour and selling that shirt. You know, that's how I did it. So I know no different. Like he said, how do we get our first customer? I had to be too void, you know, and like so I did things very unconventional. Like someone said, well, how are the legal fees and all that? It didn't matter to me. If we can't get customers, we're out of business. So right now we're doing a FinTech Gala. We did it last year. We had Elliot Spitzer there. We had a bunch of names. This year we have it right now. And I'm like, I just pick up the phone and I dial because like, and by the way, I get nervous. So I'll get nervous making cold calls. So then sometimes I'll just I'll pretend I'll put myself in another like person saying I'm not this person because I get nervous. The name of the game is results. And speaking here, if I want to speak here again in 6 months, I don't want to speak here and get the same revenue number that we are today. It's like I just don't feel I should. I don't feel worthy. And I know that we could double revenue if we put in the phone calls. It's just a game. And we have the good product. So if that's on Bert. If so another good product, it's his fault. If we don't have the sales, it's me, Matt, and Ashley's fault. It's like that's.
You have to be aggressive. So what Jason mentioned earlier, you didn't really kind of type. You have to go after the top. So when I make phone calls, I don't call the underlings. I will literally call the CEO and try to get a referral into, and I have no fears at all. I'll just make call after call after call, and I get sworn at. You can't let that get in the way. It's basically, like survive and thrive. That's what we've done as a company. Is the one reason we're here today, as Jason had mentioned, is because we don't give up. We just keep pushing harder and harder. And like I called the head person at CNBC today because another person lower shot me down. I don't like hearing no as an answer. I'll keep hitting them and hitting them and hitting them until they'll eventually give in. And that's the key in I think all aspects of business. Is you have to
People like persistence. And someone asked me today, because there's one company trying to sell us on something, and they've reached out to us 5 times in 2 days. And he's like, well, doesn't that turn you off? I'm like, actually, it's a little bit endearing, So it makes me want to. So it makes it harder for me to say no to them. So that, and there's a client, Matt's not gonna say the name, but he must have called this client 600 times over the last 2 years, and they're gonna sign our biggest deal today, like a record deal that is just amazing. It's not signed yet, so we don't want to, change ourselves. But the name of the game is we just didn't stop. So I don't know. I don't know if that answers anything. I just threw it in there. What's up, man?
What CRM do you use?
Salesforce. Why do you ask?
It just strikes me as a good. I think around. I've always kind of in the past looked for kind of a cheap, free ones. It's the big, expensive ones. Cadillac is more expensive. And so that's obviously a good way to. In terms of potential customers, everyone keep track of who you've contacted and when the last time you contacted.
So the CRM stuff, I'm mixed on the CRM stuff. Salesforce is difficult to use without a lot of experience, especially if you're 3 people. There's a lot of like Zoho and a few other sugar CRM, and there's actually one that Google promotes all the time, and it's Google App Store. I can't think of the name right now. Salesforce works for us, but it's expensive. I mean, it is, and at scale, I think it's great. It's just a lot of learning stuff. And there's a lot. Now Salesforce has a couple of things that are Salesforce IQ and then Salesforce Lightning, and those are a little bit easier to use. But yeah,
Are they cheaper? Are they cheaper?
I don't know if they're cheaper.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to survive without a Salesforce because.
Yeah, but you're not. But you're also not a big fan of Salesforce.
What?
You're not a big fan of Salesforce.
No, I'm not a fan as other CRM systems. But
That's what I'm saying.
without a CRM system,
Oh, you're
I
dead.
wouldn't think because I have so many things and I'm hitting 50 to 100 people a day and some are good opportunities, and so you have to be really, really focused. And I'm getting better with Salesforce. If I had someone to train me and like really spend some time, I think that might have helped out in the beginning. But I've learned this one on my own, and I used another one for 6 years. So going from that to this, it just took a learning.
But what I would say is Salesforce, maybe Salesforce IQ, because they scrape the internet and bring the names automatically. So but if you're starting out, I would use the simplest CRM because it doesn't matter unless you have sales.
Yeah.
Like I used it for me when I was starting the first few deals. I used it's on my wall still. I used a Microsoft Excel doc. I had 40 prospects, and that's it. And I didn't go more than 40. I actually think if you go for too many, I know he says 50 to 100 calls. I think you need to narrow your focus and go deep on a few. Just go really deep. There's a company, I wish I could say the news, but it's a new company in Detroit, and they have a very successful person that is going to invest, that everyone in this room knows, very, 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 very famous person, and he, and they didn't go broad. When one of these investors, they went deep into their vertical and said, who would give us the most bang for our buck? And they got the biggest celebrity type person that would get them bang by far. This person doesn't do any investments in startups. My point of that is, instead of just dialing, you narrow in your focus on some of these things. You specialize on a few different places, and so you know a ton about them, and then they're more interesting. And
the last time I looked at CRMs, I was like, I need to contact all these people. I need to keep track of who I called, and do I need to call back, and who said no, and do I need to send something to that funnel or whatever. And Salesforce is famous, but I thought they were. I didn't use it because they were expensive and I didn't have money, and it was complicated. And I was looking. I actually started to program like a simpler CRM. I was like, I just know it's fast and free and cheap.
there's a ton out there. There's one just in Michigan. I don't know, is it a Nutmeg or something? Nutshell?
There's actually a really good one called Street that's Google related.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of.
I believe it's free and
Yeah.
It integrates with your email. Street does, right? right?
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and there's a ton of solutions out there. What I would say is, don't spend too much time in figuring out your CRM. Go to Street, go to Nutshell, be done. And then when you get to 10 people, decide when I'm going to Salesforce, and then someone can export it out. I don't want to spend any time on that decision. You know, it's like I don't want to spend time on this ticker stuff that we're choosing, but I've had to, but I don't want to because it's not customers. I want to focus on that customer. If we can take care of the customer and solve their problems, not to sell them. We got to be actually. There's a point of just selling, but if we don't solve their problems, we'll be gone in 2 years. We got to solve their problems.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
So how much you focus on content as a business rather than
Content?
Yeah.
So our business is data and content.
Yeah.
So we produce data and content. How much of my time or how much?
Yeah.
I don't focus a ton on the content. We have a very capable editorial team with this guy Jake and Jason that spend the time on it. If I have ideas, I'll send it to them. I used to do, all I did was the content. I would write 100 articles a day, literally. And maybe 60, but I don't write that many. And now I don't spend a ton of time on the content. We have our systems in place. We have goals and metrics. They're empowered to make decisions. If I see a cool story out there, I'll send it their way. They're like, yeah, we covered that 2 hours ago. So I've been sort of useless, which is great. I want to be useless, you know. I mean, I don't want to be, but I don't, you know. It's like they should know their stuff. But I love the content, and I think there's so many stories that aren't being covered every day that like I would like to know, what did Mark Cuban do yesterday? All day. I want to see what he did all day. I think that'd be cool to see someone that's successful. What did they do all day yesterday? I don't know. I think that's cool. Maybe no one else does. Sorry, it's just me. I want to be more successful. I want to use my time more wisely. I mean, I sit in there so busy. But what am I so busy doing? You know, we all have the same 24/7 clock, and we're all limited by that. And some people can yield a lot more results. So how can I get better at yielding results? How can Matt get better at yielding results? How can you get better? So that's the kind of content things I want to see more of. It's not as much stock market related, but I'm more like, I like business inspiration, stock market, you know, that kind of thing. So what's something to aspire to? So we will continue to make our stuff more aspirational in some respect. That is something that I think is very interesting and helpful. We try to, basically what we do is try to help people. We focus on the investment space, but it's also business space as well. All right, I think that's it for now. Who do I transfer it off to?
We're going to just kick it off to the first presenter. So appreciate, let's give it a hand to Jason again for. So one of the biggest things I have for you, Jason, is I think for any entrepreneur, I mean, being a 3-time entrepreneur myself, having sales. I mean, one of the biggest things with my startup kidpreneur, that's the first thing we teach them. Public speaking. Everyone gets, that's always been the top phobia in any business every year. So starting them young, being able for them to do public speaking, pitching their ideas, as they do more and more of this, they get more confident. And that's why we feel like, you know, presenting at DNewTech would do for you if you have an idea.
And the offer, if you guys ever need space to work out of your idea, just shoot me. If you don't have my email is Jason, it's Jason at benzinga.com, benzinga.com. There's empty rows of desks right there. You could have a meeting here if you have a client. You want to look like, hey, you have the office space, pretend this is your office space. More than welcome. Hey, I'd do it back in the day. So I think about where I was back in the day. No one helped me. The reason this all started, I was trying to get a job at a hedge fund. And then my friend James Altucher, I don't know if you guys know who that is. You know who that is? Yeah. So James Altucher is probably one of my closest friends. He's like, why don't you write for me at the Street? So I started writing at the Street because he was like, that's how you can get a hold of a hedge fund manager. So I started doing that. And then I created this, whatever. And then I started writing that I had a knack for something. And this is how this all came about. So I was trying to get a job at a hedge fund. No one gave me a chance. I wanted to deliver their water, you know, that kind of thing. But then they eventually do, and then I got into this. My point is, I want to give back when so if I can help someone, if you guys need space, meeting space, no charge, but there is.
That's the coolest thing, working with Jason, being able to get that inside mentorship.
And you can see the crazy, chaos here that goes on during the day. It's, in a startup, it's up, down, up, down, up, down. So, all right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so you want to turn the TV on? Is that it? Oh, it must be asleep mode.
Everything's asleep. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start off with Justin here. Well, I should say Dr. Coven. He's got his PhD in computer science. And so Justin is going to be sharing us his software that organizes all your links, searches, RS news feeds, as well as web pages and chats on one area. So I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Coven. You got 5 minutes.
I passed out a flyer. Did everybody get one?
Yes.
TopicHero.com. Let's move over to website. Here we go. TopicHero. It's up and running. You can go there. It's a freemium model where there's a local usage model where all the data is local. It's not too useful, but you can, at minimum, you can type in a query here, and then you can select whichever search engine you want. Google, Meetup, Yahoo. I like Dogpile. The ones at the top all fit in the frame. This is the frame in here. The ones at the bottom open up a new tab. So there you go. So it opens up. There you go. Search is there. You also have links that you can go to. You've got different topics. Okay, so you can organize all of your links and search engines and news feeds. Here are your news feeds over here. All of these are within the CIO area. So if you've got all these journals and newspapers that you know that are specializing in CIO or Chief Information Officer or some other topic of your choice, you can gather them all together. There's also a description set associated with it, and it's just a little HTML text editor, but it can actually get kind of fancy. So this is for the description for CIO, but you can also do some fancy stuff, and here you go. Here's a fancy one where you got some colors and some slides and a whole bunch of other stuff. Okay, so it's one way. I'll give you an example. Here's a topic for. I didn't make any changes that I want. Okay, here's BeagleBone notes. So that's where I had to take notes, and then here's BeagleBone, which I share with other people. So you can write your notes, and you can flip them over into a web page just like that, and then share it. So the freemium model is all of this I get on every one of my devices. Okay, my phone, so I can write notes on my phone. They're available here, and they're organized by topic. And I can add a new topic real quick. Okay, and then I can add links, and I can add search engines. So it allows you to organize information fairly effectively. So let's go into the presentation.
2 minutes.
TopicHero, become a hero of a topic by sharing all of your web-based knowledge around that topic. With TopicHero, you can organize all of your links, search engines, news feeds, notes, chats. You can have chat associated with it too. So when you share a topic, you can have a chat associated with that specific topic. And you can share them with others. Use cases. Now, there's a lot of different problems that I have when I'm trying to organize my information, I'm trying to share with other people. And these are all use cases. They're all on the flyer that I gave you. So I'm just going to go through them quickly. Topics is more about how you organize your information and share that and communicate in an organized fashion as opposed to just a stream of thought. Links is, well, you can organize your links. You can have global links that are that are always available, and you have local topic-specific links that are specific to each topic. There are other advantages. Searches, again, you don't have to have 10 different windows open. Everything's available in one place. RSS news feeds. You can gather all the news feeds together. You can do search on them. Descriptions, we already talked about. You can do notes and then publish actually a web page from it. And your chats. And there's a mobile view also. Okay. Here's the menu, opens up, and you get to everything. Training, we've got training on how to use TopicHero next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday. And I'll put something in Meetup about that. Sales model. Internet marketing, marketing to local groups, and topic-based groups. You know, there are people who have specialties in business or specialties in a specific education field. That's who we go after, basically, by creating a specific topic and then providing it to them so that they can then modify it and share it with others. And everybody's got a topic that they're some type of specialist in. Beating Google, Facebook. Why? Okay, from a user's perspective, you're not talking about competition. What we're doing is collaborative intelligence. Give you a neat little story. Everybody knows about computer chess and how computers beat the best humans. Well, they continue with those competitions, and they had humans plus computers against humans plus computers. So I think a couple years ago, maybe one or two, the guy who came in second was, a grandmaster, and he had, a specialist computer, supercomputer. He had all the resources, everything built just for that. He came in second. The guys who came in first, 2 guys, 3 laptops, off-the-shelf software. Collaborative intelligence is the name of the game. Collaborate. Organized information versus just sort of loose information. You're writing information in this blog, and that blog, and that blog. You can gather it all together here. You can have, this is my page, and here are all my blogs, and you can get to them all real easily through that links menu. You can even search through some of them if you have a search engine or news feeds from some of your blogs. You can organize them together. So from a user perspective, we're going to be migrating away from this random thought to more organized communication with each other. This provides that from a user perspective. And last slide, I think, advertising advantages. Advantages for the consumer, like for the average person who's looking at the ads, privacy. Okay, we're not going to share. We don't have any information on demographics at all. Okay, so we're not sharing it. No reason to. All of our ads can be based around specific topics or groups of topics. So there's no, you're separate from what you're interested in. So from a user perspective, privacy. From a vendor perspective, who's selling something, he's not selling to somebody who's a woman at 60 ages old. He's selling to somebody who's interested in this specific thing and has all of these specific references, so you can really get an idea of what they really need to make them happy and successful. So it can be much better, much more directed advertising than someplace like Google. Okay. There.
You're the only one that let you go. We just went by. So just, anyone have questions, Q&A?
I know you mentioned some of the use cases, but I guess what problem were you having that prompted you to come up with this idea, this platform?
Well, there's 2 different directions. There's the enterprise direction. So one of the problems that you have when you're working in a large enterprise, there's all these links and all these tools and all. You want to have access to journals. You want to get all this information together so you can be an expert. Okay, you can be a hero of a specific topic. Okay. There wasn't anything. Everything was loose. We were sending all these links here, the links there. It's a total mess. When we tried to organize it and we create web pages, we had to sit down, a special group, put all these web pages together, design it. A lot of work. Here, all you have to do is you can just put everything together and just turn on share. Okay, it's an HTML text editor. Just write your notes in, maybe make it a little fancy, and you can share it. So there were problems in an enterprise, okay, in a business. When somebody new came along, you want to transfer a lot of information to them. How do you do that in an organized fashion? There wasn't anything. From a normal average user perspective, just on your home computer, a browser. Have you ever worked with the file folders, trying to put all your links together, trying to get folders of links and all? It's a mess. They don't really organize in an effective fashion. Here, everything's up in that menu. Some of the ways of transferring links from one place to another are fairly well advanced because you just, select. You go to topic view, select what you want to copy, and that's across news feeds, links, and search engines across the board, and you can just move them or copy them over to another topic. There's also links. Okay, there's the concept of local and global. Okay, so to each topic, there's specific links, but there's also a global area. So the links that you always go to, the search engines you always use, news feeds you always look at, those are part of your global, and they're always available in every menu. So it was using an ordinary browser, using the tools that were out there that were insufficient, just an ordinary user, plus the enterprise view is meeting both needs.
So what's your ask? What are you asking for today? What are you looking for?
Wait a second. Okay, what you can do, go to TopicHero.com and register. Okay. Then you can open Topic Manager. It's one of the buttons, and you can go to the popular topic and then select the links, search engines, news feeds that you're interested in and copy them over to your global area. Or you can create you can also gather all your links from your browser, drop them into the description editor, and then just hit load links, which will load all the links, in a group. Everything that's on the description editor. You can go to how to use to watch all the tutorials. Always have TopicHero open, a tab open, okay? Because you only need one tab open. You don't need Facebook, Google, and all that stuff. You can get to everything with it. You can type in a query and get to Facebook, query get into Google, query get into Dogpile, get into Doc.go, what have you, okay? So I'm asking you to go out and use the tool. Sign up, use it. And if you want to share more than 3, then purchase the premium. Okay, you can have as many topics as you want, and as standard version, free version, you can share up to 3. It's like publishing a web page or a website. So, first 3 pages are free. Any other input is welcome, but I saw that people like what am I asking slides, so I put one together.
It can be that simple, but yeah, but I totally see what you're going to.
Yeah, don't just register, use it. Put your ideas, organize yourself.
So if I have an account with you, paid account, and I share it with somebody that does not use your service at all, what's the intended purpose at that point?
So there are 3 different usage. There's local usage, which is something as you described. So anybody can see the page, okay? They don't have to register. Okay? So it's like a website. And you can share it in 2 different ways. You can share it just as a plain web page, and you can which doesn't have the links and the chat and all of that associated with it. Just has the description that you've put together. But you can also share it as part of TopicHero, and people can go there and they can use your links, they can use your news feeds, they can use all of that. They don't have to register. They can register, and then they can start organizing their stuff. Okay? So we have local usage, which meets the average people, non-registered users. Okay? I think Facebook, you have to register to see anything. You can see plenty of stuff without registering. Okay? Local usage is up. Standard usage, up to 3 topics shared, and then premium usage, as many topics as you want. Does that answer your question?
What makes you kind of design the layout the way you have designed?
All right, so that's a good question.
Is that efficient for an average person
Why a little bit complex? This is like your browser bar at the top. That's part of the view, like it's a browser bar. And even Facebook, it's like you've got a whole bunch of menus up here. So menu, administrative menu, topics menu, links menu, so here you got your query. This is Firefox. They've got search too, but again, it's not organized together with everything else. we put everything together as a topic. And again, this is a specific browser type. So if you don't sign up for Firefox service, you can only get it on that specific machine and that specific device. So Firefox doesn't work well on all devices. So if you saw the flyer, one of the advantages is this is, doesn't matter what device you're on, doesn't matter what browser you're on, you have free access to the information wherever. And you can buy whatever you want. You're not restricted. The other parts, chat is useful, news feeds are useful. It's sort of a flavor. It is a little busy, but again, we're doing organized information and organized content, so we're putting everything together. I know a lot of other sites are very simple. Our mobile version, which give you a little pick. I think I already gave you a peek at the mobile version, is a lot simpler. Looks a lot cleaner. So, here's your topic, your links, your queries, and your search engines, and then your query. And then if you want to get to your RSS feeds, you can use the RSS feed button. The neat thing about this RSS feed button, for a specific topic, whatever's in this query, it'll search for that query in all of those RSS feeds within that topic. So there's some organized searching also.
So I had to give so much of real estate of my screen to you at a given time.
A tab.
Within a tab.
Yeah, it's a tab, and the reality is you're going to go to that tab and you're going to do stuff, and it's going to open up other tabs. So it's all the other tabs that it gets you to. And then there's some searching and some news feeds within it, but it's really your feed to get everywhere, so you don't have to have 50 tabs up. One tab. I use it all the time. It's really fun. It's really easy. It cuts down all the excess stuff that's out there.
How long did it take you to put all this together? From when you conceived it to when you had a pretty good prototype?
Well, the conception is from a book that I wrote, IT Leadership Improvement. It comes from the IT Maturity Method, the parent company. And basically it's methodically, and exceptional leadership is the ability to methodically and continually create heroes. That's one of the slogans within that larger paradigm. It's basically trying to organize enterprises a little differently so that you're always defining, measuring, and then tuning and advancing. Okay, so you're going through that continual cycle. And you're doing that at every single element. And so this, question again?
Yeah, how long did it take?
How long did it take?
From conceive?
So the conception was originally in the book.
Right.
Okay. There were also a lot of conceptions before that about just using a browser and say, why doesn't somebody put this together? So there were ideas, pieces of this and that, because working with the browser was always like a pain, all of them. There was smarter ways of doing it, and that's what I put in here. So the conceptualization is long. The specific working on this, year and a half, 2 years working on this specifically because I've worked on other aspects at the same time. So I'm just sort of giving a summary of, specific amount of time in this, maybe a year and a half.
Yourself?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm curious, do you have any people that are on the free version or the
Yeah.
pro version? How many people?
I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay, that's
We're just starting.
So, what is their feedback on? So this reminds me of being in grad school and going to research a topic from like a library website or like a journal website, and I didn't know how to use those very well either. So I remember going to a bunch of library tutorials with the librarians that were very helpful, but I still didn't quite get it. And I want to get this because I research a lot and I do a lot of work, but it seems like there's a lot of steps to make me work for understanding how to use it.
All right, so Once one person gathers everything together, they can share with everybody else. The second person doesn't need to gather it. So if you have all of those journals, and somebody's already gathered it, share it. First person is a bit of work. If there's 2 different people and then they share each other's stuff, less work. 3, 4, 5 people and they share each other with each other, bang, things happen quick. Okay. So the steps that are involved, links are very easy, you just drag and drop. News feeds are a little more complex because there's this RSS feed logo and RSS feed name and word, and you can click on that. Don't just copy it because you have to follow them, and the tutorials talk about that. Okay, there's tutorials on how to use. That's why I mentioned go to the tutorials because going to find the RSS feeds is a little more complex. But once you found it, you can pretty much just drop it there. The searches are a little more challenging to gather them together because here you've got a journal, and you have to do it. There's a lot of different ways that people do search engines, but there's even open search tools out there, but nobody uses them. What people use, everybody uses the address bar, okay, the URL. So you type in a search, it does the search, and on the address bar you're going to see, and it's gone over in the tutorials, that you've got a link plus some arguments. And one of the arguments has that thing you just searched for. You can usually delete all the other arguments and just copy that URL with that one argument and drop it in as your search. And you take out the specific search thing you search for, and it's like S is equal to something is usually what it is. Okay, URL, question mark, S is equal to, and that's usually, but not always, you have to test everyone out. So there's some work to do to gather the first ones, but once you've gathered them all together, they run usually. Sometimes people change things, not too often, but then you can share it with all your friends, all your coworkers, whoever else in your specialty. So yes, there is some work and you have to gather them together, but once you have them, copying them is easy.
Do you know what your drop-off rate is? Like of people like going through that process, like starting and then like stopping their search because they can't figure it out or they just
Don't have any information on that yet. Go through the tutorial. It is actually pretty easy. You know, it's basically arguments. You know, an argument name and argument value. You know, S is equal to something.
So can you open the tutorial to show us how? Is it easy to follow? Because the way you saying it sounds like
I'm going kind of quick.
A complex thing to do, and
You know, I've got
you get stuck in there, you can't
couple
get
minutes
out,
here.
you don't want to go back.
All right, so here we go. How to use. And I will be doing a class a week from Friday. Tutorials.
Where's that class going to be?
Online. Okay, so here's the popular tutorial. Actually, I should probably just open it to YouTube. Popular tutorial.
So it's a 10-minute tutorial?
There's 5 tutorials.
Popular
all together 20 minutes.
How to use initial personalization of searches, RSS feeds.
Can you just skip to like the middle part of it so we can
Changing your global search engines.
So it's verbal plus written.
Make sure you are logged in and on the
And then you're actually, here's a little showing. Okay.
on the TopicHero
Have you heard of
tutorial
Scoop It?
tab within
Scoop It.
Popular tutorials.
S-C-O-P-I-T. I know they're more visual, but they're more pretty much curates a lot of the data that's already out there, content's out there. And it kind of corrugates all these data to get all these topics that you choose of.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's the same. I don't think it is, to be honest, because I think this is more a research base with, you know, but in regards to, I mean, I use Scoop It, and that's how I get all my relative data in one place, and then I share those links to my, I would say, friends, or I don't know how much is that different, but that's very, to me, very simple. Everything's visual. I drop and drag, pick the keywords I want. So I'm just saying that.
So it's a meta search engine, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there's a lot of meta search engine tools out there.
So this
is more directed. So again, the philosophy of collaborative intelligence, where not only do you have the smart searching tools, but you're using the human collaboration of organizing it, so it gets you a much more refined tool. And personally, I find a lot of the meta tools, Google, etc., frustrating. You have to dive deep to get to what you want. So yes, there's a place for all those tools, and actually we provide you links to all those different tools. So you can do the same thing. You can add that link as one of your global search engines.
Okay. Any more questions? I know we usually supposed to have John here, but I don't see John is here at all. Anyone here, John? So pretty much, I don't know. Well, I want to give it off. First, let's give a hand to Dr. Coven. So pretty much, I mean, this is a pretty cool tool. I mean, I want to leave it up to the table. I mean, right now, what we could do is that, does anyone have any type of idea, startup that you want to come up here and just kind of pitch? Again, I don't want to make it like a long, I like a 5 pitch. So I know that you talked about, you have a meetup group that you like to share, and then pitch them an idea why they should be there. You have a fellowship, pretty much something going to pitch your idea. I mean, I should start off by just pitching my idea to kind of give you an idea that, this is the type of venue you want to bounce off of. But as you guys might already know, I'll start off. I have a company called Kidpreneur. We teach kids kindergarten to 8th grade about entrepreneurship and technology. Those technology include coding, which is right now very important, and then robotics, as well as game design and digital arts, which includes 3D printing, video production, animation. Our goal is to, there are kids who love sports, there's kids who love playing musical instruments, and there are kids who just like video games, and I was one of them. One of the biggest things, my parents didn't think I was going to do anything with myself, due to the fact that I play a lot of video games. But you're more likely going to be a game designer and an engineer than more likely you're going to be a professional athlete or professional musician. So being able to being able to love games and harnessing that, we believe Kidpreneur will give you that resources so that kids can learn technology, such from scratch to Python to Java. And then we use Minecraft as a vessel to teach them coding, and then pretty much using technology. More importantly, the entrepreneurship piece is public speaking. They have to come and present their project at the end of their camps or the classes. So pretty much we are 2 locations, and again, we focus on kindergarten to 8th grade. Check us out at kidpreneur.co. All right. So pretty much, anyone? Let's do this since we only have we have a small group.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to get up?
Yeah,
get up.
Okay. So my name is Nicole Mangus. I have a company called Launch Exchange, and basically I work with social entrepreneurs to help them start the companies that they want to create that will change the world, right? So these kind of hero companies do good businesses, and they grow in unique ways, which is why I add value to those companies, because you have to understand the mission part and not let that trump the business part, because you have to make money to sustain yourself. So as a part of some of those efforts through Launch Exchange, we started a meetup group that's called the Detroit Social Entrepreneurs, and basically we meet monthly to do an easy peasy kind of drinking, casual conversation, networking kind of event. But we're starting to branch out, so we want to do a little bit more content and provide more value to our members. And so we're hosting a pitch and potluck event, which speaks to some of the community vibe that we like to foster with social enterprise, and that's going to be on February 25th at Bamboo Detroit. Basically, we're going to pick 5 people at random that kind of just throw their name in the hat to pitch either their startup company, a question they have to the community to get everybody thinking about it, or whatever else they want to throw at the audience. And we'll do 5 minutes pitch, 5-minute Q&A, and we'll just let those conversations or those topics carry on into a potluck dinner over just really community breaking bread, very fun and like really lackadaisical. So that's kind of what my pitch is. I don't really think I have much else.
So how do we learn more about you when you're having this potluck?
Oh yeah, so that's great. So I can certainly share the resources with DNewTech, and there is also an Eventbrite page. The link is p2d.eventbrite.com.
Post it on the comment section for this event?
I can do that. And then also my company is launchexchangedetroit.com. Super easy.
Launch Exchange?
Like launch the rocket. Yep.
And where is this meeting going to be?
This is at Bamboo Detroit, which is just down the street. It's a co-working space. It's pretty easy easy to navigate from here. It's right off of Gratiot and Brush. The parking situation is not as easy as here, where you can park in the structure and then just get reimbursed. There's a lot that's located right next to the building. You're nodding, so you've been there before, I'm sure. There's also on-street parking, but it's on the second level, so you have to park, and then there's an entrance that's right next to a bail bonds business. Just drive it up, and everything will be open. There is an elevator, yep.
If it ever helps you to have an event, you know, when you're doing here,
Yeah.
feel free to.
I appreciate that. I think that
do
that's
anytime. We'll try to make sure we can always validate parking.
awesome.
We work closely with people that own the building.
Yeah, and I've done tons of startup weekends too. I've worked with Brandon, and I know you guys have always supported startup weekends, so.
Oh, great,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Startup weekend is phenomenal.
Yep, so if, I don't know if any.
I was doing startup weekend before school, how about that?
I know, right? Like back in, what, 2008?
Did it the first, this building on the first floor, wow. I pitched this company on the first floor.
At startup weekend.
2008 or 9, and I pitched it bad on purpose. I knew I was going to do it. I pitched it, so no one knew that, but I did it bad. I was gonna-
Nobody picked your team?
I made like I was doing write articles. And I just didn't want anyone to. I was trying to find one guy there.
You just wanted some talent.
Then I did find a guy. Then he ended up doing Project Gumshoe, but then it didn't work out. But yeah, that was downstairs. I can't believe that.
That's
It was
throwback, huh?
Startup Weekend, yeah.
So if nobody knows, Startup Weekend is a 54-hour business competition. Essentially, people come together on Friday night, they pitch an idea, and teams form around the popular voted ideas, and then they work over the course of the weekend to launch a business. So on Sunday night is demo night, and everybody comes back together to pitch their ideas. Or I'm sorry, their businesses now. They've transformed from ideas to businesses. So we've done it in Detroit for eight or 9 years. Typically, there's a focus on tech kind of high growth companies, but we're also starting to branch out in different verticals like social enterprise. Just did a youth event at Ford Field, and we're talking about a women's event and also a connected something, kind of Internet of Things. So,
You have time for all that.
I have like 5 other things going on too, so hustle is real.
Where do you work?
I have my company, and then I'm launching a wine bar too in Northwest Detroit.
Where Northwest?
On Grand River. We're doing a pop-up in Pages Bookshop, which is
Where in Grand River?
right at Outer Drive. Yeah. All right, so I just totally pitched a lot of stuff, so
Yes.
I'll step back and thanks.
Sure. So I could really use Kidpreneur for my public speaking skills. Be like Billy Madison. Anyways, I am Sam. I am the program manager at this program called Hacker Fellows. Hacker Fellows is a 1-year fellowship program for recent computer science, electrical engineering graduates looking to land soft landing at a startup company in Michigan. We found that Michigan is obviously not the hotbed for tech talent, so we're trying to keep those recent graduates in Michigan to help succeed Michigan-based tech startups. We do that by offering 5-week accelerated boot camp at Grand Circus. We boost their salary $15,000 to $20,000 within the first year, so they could have a semi-competitive salary right out of school. And yeah, we also offered a cohort-based cross-mentoring platform as well. So yeah, one way to find us is we just relaunched our social media at Hacker Fellows on Facebook and Twitter, and then it's at our website is hackerfellows.com. So you have students as well that are looking to land jobs at startup companies. Yeah, I can give you a card, or anybody else too. So.
When's the application deadline?
Oh yeah, February 7th. February 7th. But totally willing to extend that a little bit if until mid-February if anybody has any serious candidates that they know. Yeah, thank you. Oh, and then we're going to be hosting DNewTech at Invest Detroit on March 3rd. March 3rd. Yeah, so we just moved into a pretty cool, like 2,000 square foot office space in Midtown, right next to Hopcat and McDonald's. And there's free parking. They're still building out the office, but it's like 90% done. Pretty cool, open format workspace. You can. There's ways to change our tables into ping pong tables and just like really weird office furniture. It's pretty cool. So you guys should all come check it out.
Sorry, it was March 2nd.
March 2nd. Okay.
March 2nd, so what's
Pretty early. It's February already, right? Because there's leap year. It's a leap year day.
Cool. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Well, pretty much like Sam said, our next DNewTech is going to be at Invest Detroit on March 2nd, and then we also are looking for speakers, of course, presenters, and besides that, I mean, just hang around. I think there's some pizza left, or a lot of pizza left, and just network. All right?
Thank you.
Cool, guys.
It's on the Pages tab, top of the page. There's a list of all the prior events.
Can you find names on there?
Yeah, names, topics,
Okay.
pretty much everything that's on the.
Names, topics, dates, and all that. Okay.
So there's a spreadsheet. You can
Yeah.
download.
Okay.
There's some columns added for all the videos.
Yeah.
Oh.
Location, there's a slide deck.
BEULLBEAR, but it's under the Benzinga.
They're real cool. It's one of those videos with the super, back in 2009. Some guy just skyrockets, and then you got the only video right to it.
Yeah, we've had some
Anyone wants to take a pizza home?
acquisitions.
Yeah.
There's actually a couple we had to take down because acquisitions.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, they,
No one's ever heard of
And Capital.
Fascinating. I was just reading today about kind of a fascinating story for Super Bowl.
EAR.
Volunteered sales back in '67. Volunteered to sell it, and I found most of it was $30 grand. Nobody has it.
Right.